We are back, folks. You are listening to the Gazette Radio Hour with Doug and John, the radio digest version of the Santa Clarita Gazette and Free Classifieds, for all you need to know to be in the know. And we're on Santa Clarita's wonderful hometown station, AM-1220 KHTS.
So, Doug, I guess we're going from author at this point, right?
Oh, yeah. I didn't think of that.
It's an all-author show.
Speaking of authors, I wonder if his new book's anywhere close to coming out yet.
Maybe you should ask him.
Oh, yeah.
He's probably on the phone.
Robert Patrick Lewis, are you with us?
Yes, sir. I am with you. Funny enough, I have a conference call scheduled with my publisher tonight, so listeners, just pay attention to the Robert Patrick Lewis author Facebook page. I promise I'll let you guys know what we come up with at our phone call tonight.
All right. We're getting a little impatient, Robert.
I know.
Yeah, me too.
I want to buy the movie rights.
Hey, man, let's start negotiating.
We can talk. All right. So Robert, a lot of stuff in the news. I'm going to skip right over. I know Doug probably wants to talk to you about the State of the Union, but I got a question for you about American Sniper. Okay. Now, Doug told me that you had not seen the movie, but I've got a question. I've read the book.
But John, excuse me. Let's let the listeners know what Robert's background is.
I was about.
Okay. Sorry.
Back off. Being a Green Beret. See how he did that?
Okay. Sorry.
I'm a professional. Okay. Being a Green Beret, you have a unique perspective. Okay. And we all know that Michael Moore is Michael Moore, and a lot of it is he's trying to get publicity, and he's got these weird beliefs, and I don't know whether he's mainstream or not. But to call Chris Kyle, the American Sniper, the guy who the movie's based on, a coward, I got a problem with that. But maybe stepping back a little bit and thinking about it, is there something to what he said? Okay?
I don't think so. There was that old idea of war. Everybody's seen the old movies from the Revolutionary War where you march valiantly across the field from each other and stand up and just basically wait to get shot.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was a type of warfare at one time. And then when the British came in and did that, we annihilated them. That was actually, if you track back, that was the first iteration of special operations we had in this country, were Rogers Rangers and Merrill's Marauders that actually went through and would use guerrilla warfare to attack the British.
Exactly.
So we've been doing this for a very long time. The whole element of surprise, if you're looking at what Michael Moore is saying, he's essentially saying smart tactics are cowardly.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't know if Michael Moore wants to stand up there and have us, pace off and stand directly across from each other and shoot, because he should keep in mind he's a hell of a large target compared to most people. He's about the width of 3 or 4 normal targets. So he might not want that kind of warfare.
Yeah.
But with what he said, if you just take it at face value, he's saying anytime we use artillery, that's cowardly. Anytime we use bombers, that's cowardly. Anytime you shoot someone, jumping out from around a corner where they can't see you, that's cowardly. And that's smart warfare.
Yeah. Thank you. Because like I said, I was struggling with it. Okay, look, I know, everybody who serves the country, in my viewpoint at least, everyone who serves the country in any regard is technically considered a hero, but I think there's varying degrees of heroism. Okay, laying down your life for another to me is the ultimate hero. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I'm like, okay, well maybe let's give him a little bit of a benefit of a doubt and try to figure out what it is that he's actually trying to say and if there's any legitimacy in that. And I couldn't find it, but I wanted to talk to an expert, and that's why I was like very glad that you were going to be on the show today. I just think that he's got some issues with maybe getting his message out. I don't know what his problem is, Doug.
Well, it wasn't just him. It was a lot of people on the left. There was an article in the Rolling Stone magazine ripping the movie, and Seth Rogen had some critical things to say.
Oh, he's a Canadian, so who cares about it?
Yeah, and it is a shame. It really is, but not a lot of people know this, and he does a good job of keeping it quiet. But Michael Moore is actually a card-carrying NRA member. I heard about that a year or two ago.
Oh, really?
But it's all about money for him, and it's all about publicity. If you go back to his very first documentary, Michael and Me, about Flint, Michigan, and everything else, I remember watching that in economics class in high school. He took a very sharp tone when he realized he could make a lot of money from being this dripping wet, bleeding heart liberal.
Exactly.
And so even though he is a person, and I stretch to call him a person or a human being, even though he doesn't believe in these crazy, anti-gun things that he says, he knows that's going to make him the most money. Yeah. So it's all about money. It's all about publicity.
Robert, one of the criticisms, it might have been Rolling Stone, was saying here was a guy that was able to shoot kids, to shoot women, but yet when he came home, he supposedly had a heart of gold for his family, and they couldn't reconcile the two. How would you answer that?
You know, and a lot of people have questions. They wonder why it is that we in the special operations community can see, you know, I was deployed for 4 years straight. I just, multitudes of, you know, death and chaos around me. I've been shot and blown up myself and, you know, had to pull the trigger on the other side quite a few times. Why is it that we're less affected than, you know, somebody that might see a lot less combat, maybe a mortar lands next to them, they have severe PTSD for the rest of their life?
Right.
For us, we learn, and it's got to be a natural ability to compartmentalize things very, very well. And that whole process of selection, the BUDS, or the Special Forces Assessment and Selection, all these things, a lot of them are designed to select people who have that ability to go, this is going to hurt, this is going to be horrible, this is going to be awful, but I have to do it.
And it doesn't define me. And it doesn't define you.
Yeah, and you just don't allow it to define you, and you don't allow it to get inside. You just, this is work. This has to be done. And whatever you say to yourself, it's for the greater good. You know, for us, we had a lot of research on these guys killed this many Americans, so we're going to go get them. You know, and we just have to have that ability to compartmentalize it and justify it to ourselves.
Yeah, that's where I think people miss the mark in all this. Having read the book, and I haven't seen the movie yet either. I'm kind of hesitant because I really enjoyed the book, and it's like books never really movies never do the books justice. It seems like, but I'm like, I think they just they misunderstand the fact that this is a necessary evil a lot of times, and it's saving American lives.
Yeah, and it is, and you know, at some point, sometimes you just got to look at the greater good.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, sometimes you got to do one bad thing to save, you know, 1,000 people. You know, it's sometimes you got to do what you got to do, and that's the unfortunate part about war. But it's war; it's not
war.
civil.
Yeah.
It's
War
not
is
meant
hell.
to be pretty and clean. You know.
Hey, wow, that's pretty good, Doug. Did you just come up with that? Hey, Robert, can you hold on until after the break? We're gonna talk. I'm gonna try to quickly go copyright that. War is hell, Doug. That's awesome. He came up with that himself. He's probably been working on that for a couple hours.
No, I heard some guy in Fox say it today.
Oh, there you go. Oh, so he's ripping off Fox News now. There you go. All right, Robert, hang on until after the break, could you?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you. All right, you're listening to Gazette Radio Hour with Doug and John on AM-1220 KHTS, Santa Clarita's hometown station. We'll be right back.
We're not making you wait, folks. We are back on the Gazette Radio Hour with Doug and John on Santa Clarita's hometown station, AM-1220 KHTS. We have our weekly national correspondent on, Mr. Robert Patrick Lewis.
All right, Robert, you ready?
Yes, sir.
I promised Doug during the break that you guys could talk about the State of the Union.
Yeah.
Are you excited about all the free stuff you're going to get?
Oh yeah, of course. My free Obama phone. It's free, right? It's free. Nobody's got to pay for that.
I'm going. I was going to. They have a golf class at COC. I was going to sign up for it because community college is going to be free, right?
Yeah.
My golf game will improve. It's not a bad thing.
Robert, I guess what bothers, and I was talking about John about this in the first segment. I guess what really bothers me, and I don't know if a Republican would have talked about it, is they just seem to completely ignore the deficit and what ramifications that could have on our country. Maybe not next year or the year after, but sometime in the near future, particularly if interest rates go up high or there's some sort of a terrorist attack, and it could all come to a big crash. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, you know, I work in a couple different areas and different types of industries, and one of my things that I do is I'm an investment advisor. So I pay a lot of attention to that, numbers, you know, looking at an investment, looking at, you know, interest rates and things like that. And it does just drive me absolutely insane when this happens, when we talk about spending things and when we haven't reconciled our money yet. And, you know, it's just insane to me because we can't do that as people, but they can do that as a government. They just bring extra money. We don't have enough money to make this balance out, so we'll just bring extra money. Oh, you know, we need a little bit extra. We're going to steal from Social Security, which anybody out there that's younger than, I don't know, the age of 50 right now, if you think you're going to get Social Security, think again. You're never going to, because every time the Democrats have needed something, they've been pulling from Social Security for the last couple of decades.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why it's running out. It's one of the reasons they're using that when they try to budget stuff and they don't have money. It's absolutely insane. And the thing that kills me is a father. I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. They are killing my kid's future. They are. Okay. And it blows my mind.
Hang on a second. Because I hear that a lot, okay? And I'm not, A, you're a Green Beret, so I don't necessarily disagree with you. But B, also, I don't disagree with you. But for normal people, how do you explain that to people so they get it?
You know, it's one of those things that's next to impossible to explain because it's a fundamental idea that if people don't get it, they just don't get it. But we're spending money we don't have. It's like if you have money set aside for your budget throughout the month, you have grocery money, you have shopping money, and you have, your rent money, your mortgage money. And your rent goes up, and you don't have enough money in that rent envelope for rent, so you start taking it out of the grocery money pile. Well, and then at some point, there's no money left in the grocery pile either, and so you start taking out of all these other piles, and at some point, there's nothing left. And that's where we are right now. Our government spending is to a point where there's nothing left in these other boxes. We're spending more than we're taking in through taxes. We're taxing small businesses out of business, so then we have to raise taxes on the rest of the businesses, which raises their taxes and taxes them out of business, and we keep going in this circle. It's just destroying the country. And unfortunately, it's going to take something horrific, I think, to change it, to wake people up to this idea that we're just destroying our future.
So, Robert, what do you think that horrific thing is? I mean, that's what when I've gotten arguments with friends, they go, hey, we've been in a deficit for this long. Nothing's going to happen. We're just going to keep going along. What could happen? What could go wrong?
Unfortunately, a lot. I mean, we know that the market is cyclical. So every 7 to 11 years, there's a market crash. So the last crash is 2007, 2008. So we know we're within that window for another one. Now, that being said, we've still, no matter what the government is telling you, we still have not fully recovered from the last.
At 5:30 p.m.
Uh-oh. Somebody doesn't know what they're doing.
Anyway.
We've got. There you go. All right. It looks like we've lost Robert. Well, see, the question I was going to ask him, Doug, and maybe you could figure this out.
Maybe call him
back. We have time. Everybody's all excited about gas being,
right.
Under $2. We were joking earlier about, wow, we're going to have Clinton and Bush running for president and gas under $2. We're traveling through time. It's pretty funny. But do you think this is like part of what's, is this a bad thing in a way? Because, we talked earlier, governments are going to just increase the taxes on the gas.
Yep.
But do you think maybe like Russia's behind it somehow? Or something weird is going on?
Yes, I do.
We can get Rob back on the phone. I want to figure out what he thinks about this, because I think that is one of those things that's just fascinating to me. Is it like some Russian ploy?
Right. We have Rob back?
Yeah, hey guys, if you don't like me, you can just tell me.
We were hoping you'd get the hint.
We'll tell you exactly who that is, so you can come after them, and. No, so we were just talking. I know you were probably calling in and missed this, but I was like, everybody's so excited about gas being $2, and how the price of gas is so low, it's great. And Doug goes, yeah, now the government's going to increase the gas tax, to make up for the difference, which I think is pretty funny. But
yeah, well, and that's the thing in the state of California. The way that the California budget is written, they have to take in a certain amount of money from the gas tax.
Yeah.
So as we're getting more fuel-efficient vehicles, they're raising the gas tax to make up for it.
Right.
They're adding a mileage tax this year or next year.
Oh,
yeah.
So that when you report to the DMV and your insurance company how much you drive on average, they start taxing on that.
Yep.
Uh-oh. I'm going to get a text on that one. Do you think the whole thing is like a Russian plot, though? To ruin the economy somehow?
Russia, well, I've heard from several different sources that it's a plot by OPEC to try and put fracking out of business. Because if they bring the oil down to a certain level where, the thing about fracking, it's very cost intensive. It takes a lot of money to develop that technology and actually get the oil out. So if oil gets to the price per barrel that they can't afford to do that it's not price conscious, then they think they can put those smaller companies out of business.
Fascinating. Okay, so that's a good one. I'm like, when it goes down that low, something's not right.
Yeah, and Saudi Arabia especially doesn't want to do that because they're an entitlement nation. No Saudi Arabian citizens actually work. The government just pays them, and all the citizens there have Malaysian and Indian and foreign people that do all their cooking and cleaning and things like that. And so a lot of analysts have said that if oil ever goes below $100 a barrel, there will be a revolt, and the Saudi Arabian royal family will be thrown out because people actually have to go to work. So now it's down way below that.
Below, yeah.
And if they died, you start looking at, okay, why would they consciously do this?
That's funny. All right, Rob, I got a homework assignment for you. You ready?
Yes, sir.
I got a friend who is very concerned about the distribution of income in the world. And he thinks that's going to be the next major thing. So maybe next week or in the next
Can you clarify that?
He thinks that the fact that 80% of the wealth is owned by, I forgot the numbers. I'm sure he'll have them, but the disparity, the income difference Okay, the rich are rich, and the poor are poor, and there's eroding of the middle class. Okay, he thinks that's the next big issue, and he's very, very concerned about that. So maybe in the next week or two, we're going to have you on with my buddy. Maybe you can set him straight. It'd be a good argument to have.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, I agree with him, and it is. And in times of economic trouble, the disparity gets even wider.
Okay, so there goes the argument and debate. Maybe we'll just have a panel discussion about it.
Yeah.
All right. Rob, we're out of time. Thank you.
All right, that was Robert Patrick Lewis, right?
Yep.
The author with a new book coming out soon that we'll have all the information on, and we'll break it here first for you, Robert. And you're listening to Gazette Radio Hour with Doug and John on AM-1220 KHTS. We'll be right back, Doug, with something very close to your head.
My head?
There you go.